The Grand Canyon is one of the most spectacular natural wonders on Earth. 277 miles long, 18 miles wide at its widest, and more than a mile deep into Earth's crust.
The Grand Canyon hides a zone humans are not allowed to enter, but AI went where people could not. The results reveal strange shapes, abnormal readings, and signs that do not match any known explanation. Experts are stunned. What AI discovered in this forbidden region has shocked the entire world. Join us as we reveal what it discovered. The hidden cliffs and ancient secrets. Hidden deep within the Grand Canyon lies a place that most callers nowadays hear about. It's a stretch of escarpment so remote and unstable that indeed Dimensny officers approach it with caution. Rangers call it the interdicted zone. These escarpments rise nearly vertically, their shells etched with deep fractures and scars left behind by constant rockfalls and important gusts of wind. Every time someone steps too close, the ground beneath them shifts, reminding them of the escarpment's fragile and dangerous nature. According to Dimensny records, the last sanctioned descent into this area ended in disaster. During that passage, an unforeseen rockfall struck one of the rovers. A massive boulder hit his shoulder and dragged him against the precipice, tearing his harness and breaking several caricatures before the safety line could hold him. The deliverance platoon managed to pull him up, but it took hours, and much of their outfit was left crushed at the base of the wall. National park authorities classify the interdicted zone not only as a geological hazard, but also as a defended artistic point. The escarpments are prone to unforeseen collapse, and the ground below is littered with the remains of former peregrinations. Internal safety reports make it clear that indeed, minor climate could spark massive rockfall. This extreme insecurity makes the area largely dangerous for anyone trying to explore it. Beyond the physical peril, original, indigenous lines requested that the area remain unrestricted. They cited long, held traditions connected to what they call the place of emergence. This point is believed to be one of several entrances to the demi-world, as described in Hopi and Havasupai oral histories. The Hopi and Havasupai are indigenous peoples native to the Grand Canyon region. Their ancestors have lived along its escarpments and gutters for centuries. According to their accounts, the first people surfaced from openings in the flume. These ancestors were advised no way to return. To ethnic elders, this region is sacred ground. It's a place where the boundary between worlds is thin and fragile. Disturbing it could awaken forces that should remain sealed. Interestingly, this conception of an outer world is not unique to the Grand Canyon. In ancient Egyptian tradition, the word or duat refers to the demi-world, a place where the dead go after life ends. In both cases, the idea of a hidden, important realm beneath the face carries warnings of peril and riddle. By the late 20th century, only many scientific brigades had tried to reach the interdicted zone. Early reports from explorers mentioned steep drop-offs that appeared without warning. A climbing check in the 1990s turned back after a near-fatal rockfall, leaving the area largely untouched. After that, the flume's interdicted zone became one of the last places that no one dared to study. Its character as an unobtainable and dangerous area kept utmost people down. That situation changed in early 2024, when a multidisciplinary exploration platoon entered rare authorization to probe the area. A series of small defeats near the Swash corridor had raised safety enterprises, egging Dimensny authorities to authorize a study on geological stability. The exploration platoon included geologists, climate specialists, and mapping experts from several universities. Their charge was to dissect corrosion patterns and stress fractures using advanced LiDAR scanners and spectral cameras. These tools could capture data in places where no bone could safely stand. For weeks, the readings from their instruments appeared normal. The observers displayed the usual rough layers of limestone and deposition, showing no signs of unusual conformations. Also, a checkup from a northern precipice revealed an unanticipated commodity. Knockout bends began to appear in the data. The shapes were symmetrical and precise, glowing on the screen like the figure of retired apartments. At first, the scientists suspected an estimation error, but when multiple bias verified the same conformations, the atmosphere in the control roof shifted from curiosity to unbelief. Primary reports indicate that the platoon debated whether to probe incontinently or stay for further analysis. Ultimately, curiosity won. Medications began for a controlled descent into the flume wall to confirm what the scanners had revealed. They didn't yet know the full significance of their discovery, but their decision would soon lead them face to face with commodity humanity had no way been meant to find. The interdicted zone, with its unstable escarpments, sacred significance, and retired structures, had remained untouched for centuries. Now, it was eventually revealing some of its long-held secrets, bridging the worlds of wisdom, culture, and riddle. This area of the Grand Canyon remains a place of admiration and caution. Its escarpments, fractured and raw, hold both physical peril and deep artistic meaning. The combination of natural insecurity, literal reverence, and mysterious confirmations makes it one of the most fascinating and interdicted spots in the entire flume. The interdicted zone is further than a position on a chart. It's a memorial of the power and fragility of the natural world, the wisdom of indigenous traditions, and the endless eventuality for discovery that still exists in places many have ever dared to explore. The secret chambers of the Grand Canyon. The descent began before daylight. The flume lay quiet, holding its breath. Only the soft rush of wind moving between the escarpments and the occasional clink of essence broke the silence. At the hem, the exploration platoon broke to look down. Below them stretched a wall so steep it sounded to drop straight into darkness. This was the interdicted zone, a place indeed the most educated rovers avoided. Every member of the platoon understood the threat. One loose gemstone, one unforeseen gust of wind could end everything. They checked their ropes precisely, testing every anchor and fastening. They moved sluggishly, designedly, one person at a time. Many measures they broke to hear. The pressure was nearly palpable. Indeed, the lowest sound, a pebble rolling or shifting, made someone blench. It took nearly 2 hours of careful climbing before the first significant sighting. As morning light began to touch the precipice, their headlamps illuminated the unusual commodity below. At first, the shimmer sounded like a trick of humidity or mineral deposits, but as they concentrated their lights, the shapes came clear. 3 perfect bends were cut into the gravestone. They were high, smooth, and unevenly spaced. Similar harmony was rare in nature. One rambler noted still that they recalled the entrances to retired doorways, though no one knew who might have made them. Reaching these openings proved delicate. The platoon sculpted bases and removed centuries of accumulated dust. The super-eminent rambler noticed that the gemstone then felt different from the girding precipice. It was harder, smoother, and colder under the hands. When they eventually reached the first bow, they secured their ropes and entered cautiously. Outside, the temperature dropped sprucely. Their breath formed small shadows, and their voices echoed in short, flat tones. The air felt heavy, nearly firmed in place. Their flashlights revealed walls unlike any natural delve they had explored. The shells were clean and twisted, smooth enough that light glided across them without breaking. There were no jagged edges or rough patches typical of corrosion. It was clear these walls had been sculpted designedly. One experimenter ran a gloved hand along the face, noting how polished and deliberate it felt. Moving further outside, the platoon discovered 3 connected chambers. A narrow lair linked each space. The first chamber was commodious, enough to hold several people standing upright. The alternate twisted inward, forming a half, pate shape. The final chamber was lower but extended deep into the gemstone. Every wall bore faint grooves, some nearly unnoticeable, others forming shallow patterns repeated at regular intervals. These marks suggested the use of tools rather than natural processes. At the center of the largest chamber, the platoon encountered a point that drew their attention: a gravestone. Platform sat girdled by a circle of boulders. The boulders were precisely arranged, each angled in a deliberate pattern pointing in the same direction. Measures revealed that the chambers aligned nearly impeccably from east to west, following the path of the sun. The design suggested a purpose. It was further than construction. It carried intention. For a moment, no bone spoke. The silence was filled with the recognition of what they had set up. This space wasn't the product of nature. It had been erected. The walls, the angles, the arrangement all conveyed a sense of order. One scientist later wrote that stepping into the chamber felt wrong, not because it was unsafe, but because it felt enthralled. The platoon couldn't determine who had created the chambers or how long they had been hidden. The air smelled dry and untouched. The shells appeared nearly new, as if the space had been saved impeccably, despite its age. One experimenter later reflected on the experience, noting that entering the chamber felt like stepping into someone else's design. The perfection of the construction inferred a purpose. The first suggestion of that purpose awaited on the platform itself. The combination of careful harmony, smooth walls, and alignment with the sun suggested intention beyond mortal convenience. Each detail sounded meaningful, from the faint grooves along the walls to the calculated placement of boulders. The platform in the center acted as a focal point, and the alignment from east to west indicated a mindfulness of natural cycles. The platoon observed still, seeing that this space was further than a simple chamber. It represented planning, knowledge, and skill, all hidden in a place that many had never seen. Indeed, after hours of study, the chamber retained a sense of riddle. The air remained still, carrying the weight of centuries untouched. The experimenters noted the discrepancy between the smooth, deliberate shells and the rugged escarpments outdoors. This retired space was as a quiet, ordered world within the vast, wild breadth of the flume. The combination of structure, placement, and alignment left no mistrustfulness that this was a constructed terrain, shaped with care and intention. Every discovery in the chamber added to its conspiracy. The grooves suggested repeated conduct or tools, the bends offered entrances to a retired world, and the gravestone platform anchored the space with purpose. The careful positioning of boulders and the east to west alignment emphasized that the design was thoughtful and precise. Each element corroborated the sense that this was a finagled space, one that had been designedly saved. The chamber was a place of stillness, yet it spoke volumes. Every wall, every wind, and every groove conveyed intention and artificer. The space challenged the natural hypotheticals of the flume, presenting a retired world shaped by hands rather than time. The experimenters understood the significance incontinently. This was not an arbitrary confirmation. It was an artifact of planning and design, held secret within the escarpments. Inside, the platoon felt a blend of admiration and caution. The air, the light, and the layout all contributed to the sense that this space had meaning. The chamber's structure demanded respect. Indeed, in its silence, it communicated the presence of someone who had shaped it with care. The smooth walls, the alignment with the sun, and the precisely arranged boulders all suggested intention. The platform stood at the center, staying as the first indication to the purpose of this retired creation. The mysterious metal disc, the platform in the center of the chamber, appeared ordinary at first regard. It was flat and covered in a thin subcast of ground, much like the rest of the room. One of the experimenters moved his gloved hand across the face and stopped suddenly. Beneath the dust, commodity metallic caught the light. The platoon leaned closer, precisely, brushing down the deposition. Sluggishly, the full shape came visible. It was indirect, about the size of a regale plate, and made of essence. Its artifice was far too precise to feel ancient. The face of the object was indefectible. It was smooth, cold, and impeccably symmetrical. When one of the rovers touched it, he artificially pulled back. The essence felt icy, important, colder than the girding air, nearly as if it was drawing warmth from the hands that held it. The platoon progressed with caution, using castrated tools to lift it from the compacted ground. After precisely prying it loose, they placed it on a padded face. Despite having probably been buried thousands of times, the object looked as if it had been recently forged. There were no signs of rust, flaking, or dulling under the lights. Rather, it reflected a faint bluish luster, analogous to a polished sword. According to the field notes, one of the geologists still remarked that the slice couldn't be natural. Its appearance suggested purposeful creation rather than conformation by nature. To probe further, the platoon ran a movable X-ray luminescence test, a tool designed to reveal the chemical composition of essence. The results stunned them. The readings showed a high attention of arsenic, along with traces of platinum and nickel. This combination doesn't do naturally in the flume's jewels. The orange-brown tones observed suggested iron or other minerals, but indeed, that couldn't explain the essence's refined appearance. The composition indicated that creating this amalgamation would bear extremely high heat and controlled refining styles, ways only possible with advanced technology. The outfit was recalibrated multiple times to rule out error, but every checkup verified the same result. The data suggested that whoever had made this essence understood metallurgy at a position far beyond any given ancient North American culture. Around the slice, the platoon noticed several polished gravestone fractions arranged in a loose ring, some of the pieces twisted inward, fitting together as if they were part of a broken frame. One scrap had a shallow groove that impeccably matched the rounded edge of the slice, indicating it may have formerly held the object in place designedly. The platoon batted for the purpose of these arrangements. Some believed it was conventional, maybe a sacred relic left behind by an ancient group. Others argued that the slice sounded functional, conceivably an element of a larger medium now lost to history. Exaggeration revealed indeed more. The slice's face contained bitsy, straight lines etched with extraordinary perfection. Some platoon members suspected that these might be drawings or emblematic markings, while others allowed they were traces from an advanced shaping process. Whatever their origin, the lines' perfection unsettled everyone. Nothing about them recalled the rough tools used by known ancient societies. Near the experimenters discovered recesses sculpted into the gravestone bottom, forming a perfect circle that matched the slice's size. This led to a new proposition. The platform might have been designed to hold the object in place, either as part of a structure or for a ritual purpose. The chambers could no longer be considered simple grottos. They were constructed for a reason, and the slice appeared central to that purpose. As attestation continued, the platoon's curiosity gradually shifted to apprehension. The find no longer felt like just a scientific advance. It felt as though they had uncovered a commodity that didn't belong to mortal history as they knew it. The material, the perfection, and the design suggested an intelligence far beyond what should have been in this place. One scientist later admitted that holding the slice gave him chills, as if he'd touched a commodity from another period entirely. The discovery forced the experimenters to reevaluate everything about the site. However, the flume's so-called interdicted chambers were not natural conformations. If the essence slice was authentic, they were constructed by hands that understood both wisdom and harmony long before similar knowledge was believed possible. According to field reports, the supereminent experimenters goggled quietly at the slice before admitting its significance. They realized that if the object was real, it challenged everything they allowed them to know about this place. Indeed, as they studied it, it came clear that the slice was only in the morning. Its presence suggested a lesser story bedded within the chamber, a story of artificer, intelligence, and knowledge far ahead of its time. The platoon could smell that the discovery wasn't just about uncovering an ancient object. It was a gateway to understanding commodity extraordinary retired deep within the flume. Every regard at the slice brought new questions. How was it made? Who had created it? What was its purpose? The perfect harmony, the unusual essence composition, and the girding gravestone fractions all suggested deliberate design. Nothing in the given history of the region could explain it. The platoon understood that their work had only begun. As they continued to study the chamber, they realized that the essence slice might be a key to uncovering secrets that had remained retired for numerous generations. The discovery was profound. It shifted the chamber from a point of simple curiosity to one of riddle and wonder. The platoon knew that the slice was extraordinary in every sense. Its material, its design, and the perfection etched into its face marked it as a commodity beyond ordinary mortal creation. With each careful examination, the platoon grew more certain that this object demanded a new understanding of the flume and its retired chambers. The unknown precision of the canyon chambers. The discovery of the metallic artifact fully converted the platoon's understanding of the point. What had first appeared to be a natural delve suddenly revealed itself as a precisely designed structure. To completely grasp its layout, the platoon began a detailed checkup of every chamber using an advanced ray mapping outfit. When the three-dimensional data appeared on their observers, it was insolvable to ignore. The conformations were precise and deliberate. Perfect places and bends aligned as if drawn with a sovereign. Every corner met at exact angles repeated with a thickness that reflected architectural principles seen in ancient Egyptian and Mesoamerican structures. Masterminds on point noted that the perfection was far beyond what primitive tools or arbitrary corrosion could produce. A near examination uncovered a commodity indeed more astonishing. The walls displayed faint tool marks, arranged in repeating measures that recalled a pattern of beats. This suggested the builders had worked together in a coordinated manner, striking the gravestone in sequence under a planned direction. The marks indicated leadership, careful planning, and fine knowledge far beyond what scientists had assumed was in early North American societies. In the alternate chamber, experimenters noticed mineral stains half up the walls. Tests verified these stains came from an underground spring that had long since dried. The point had easily been chosen for its access to water, maybe to store or control it. Some scientists suspected that the structure could have served as a sacred force, or a conventional space linked to water cycles. At the far end of the last chamber, the platoon discovered a small alcove containing a single gravestone arbor. Its face was covered with looping circles that connected in a chain, such like conformation. The busts were smooth, identical, and measured with exact perfection. Judges suggested the design might have carried enciphered meaning or represented an early form of mathematics. Reviews of the arbor revealed that the distances between each wind followed a repeating meter, analogous to notes in a song or way in a cotillion. The generators easily understood proportion, pattern, and perfection. To test the chamber itself, one experimenter called out to check the echo. Rather than scattering, the sound returned in a smooth, indeed tone. The walls appeared to be shaped to hold resonance, as if the room had been constructed to control sound. This consummation left the platoon in admiration. Whoever erected the chambers had learned both stonework and acoustics. When the platoon expanded their reviews deeper into the precipice, the instruments began detecting faint signals that defied explanation. Beyond the main chambers, the readings changed in unanticipated ways. A slow, steady palpitation surfaced from deep within the gemstone, repeating every 12 seconds without interruption. Originally, the platoon suspected outfit hindrance, but indeed, after powering everything down, the palpitation continued. The signal was coming from the flume itself, like a twinkle buried beneath the gravestone. Typically, glamorous fields change aimlessly. They don't move in perfect intervals. Yet then, the readings rose and fell with fine perfection. Measures across the chamber revealed the strongest energy at the center, weakening toward the edges, as though commodity within the gemstone was generating a controlled, glamorous pattern. One experimenter compared it to standing atop a buried creator that no way runs out of power. Propositions snappily spread among the platoon. Some suggested underground water flowing through glamorous minerals could explain the miracle. Others argued that the alignment was too exact to be natural. According to unverified reports, one geophysicist proposed that the builders might have arranged glamorous monuments designedly, channelizing the Earth's energy into a repeating cycle. It was an extraordinary idea, but the instruments verified the pattern. To explore the connection between sound and captivation, the platoon set up speakers inside the chamber and played a steady, low, frequent tone. Within moments, the gemstone's palpitation began syncing with the meter. The air bucketed, and a low hum filled the room. It wasn't loud, but deep enough to be felt in their cases. The chamber sounded to respond as if the gravestone itself were alive and listening. As the experimenters scrutinized the ceiling with ultraviolet light, an indeed lesser disclosure surfaced. Bitsy chargers bedded in the ceiling glowed faint blue. At first, the pattern appeared arbitrary, but as the gleam persisted, a clear design surfaced. The glowing blotches formed constellations. When compared to star maps, the layout matched the night sky, as it would have appeared 15,000 times ago. Tests showed that the chargers weren't natural conformations created by geology. They were artificial, a combination of gravestone and essence melted and fused together using violent heat. This indicated deliberate engineering. The chamber's builders had created a glowing star chart that responded to light, conserving an ancient image of the night sky, long before any given civilization could have achieved similar perfection. The deeper the platoon studied, the further the chambers sounded to respond to sound, light, and glamorous fields. The space conducted less like a ruin and more like a living system integrated into the flume's core. Field notes reflected the platoon's sense of wonder. It felt as if they were inside a commodity designed to suppose. The chamber discovery beneath the canyon. While examining the far wall of the last chamber, the scanners detected a commodity unanticipated. The readings suggested a small opening in the gravestone, just large enough for a micro-drone to pass through. The platoon concentrated all their attention on this narrow chink. Precisely, they deposited the drone and guided it into the bitsy space. Its small lights flitted against the damp gravestone walls as it squeezed forward, transferring back coarse images to the control roof. Also, the space suddenly opened up. On the screen, a retired depression appeared. It was a lower, deeper chamber, filled with uneven gemstone and layers of ground that had erected up over centuries. Silence fell incontinently in the control roof. The drone moved sluggishly across the chamber bottom, landing every detail. Its camera soon revealed an unusual commodity lying at the base of the walls. At first, the shapes were unclear, but near examination showed dark stripes across the gravestone. Later tests verified it was watercolor. Drawn on the face was an indirect symbol, girdled by rough handprints. Some experimenters interpreted it as a ritual design, while others considered it a warning, a sign left by those who no way made it out of the grotto. The drone advanced further and revealed commodities differently at the far end of the rotary chamber. A massive limestone arbor blocked what appeared to be another lair. Unlike the rough gravestone around it, the arbor's face was constitutionally smooth. At its center was a single indirect indentation. Measures from the drone were precisely compared to the metallic slice set up before in the delve. The match was perfect. The curve, the depth, and the periphery were identical. The conclusion was clear. The slice was not an ornamental object or an ancient relic. It was a key, precisely designed to fit into that indentation. The footage divided the platoon. Some argued that the charge should be stopped incontinently. Others felt they had come too far to turn back. Ultimately, the lead rambler donated to descend through the chink and confirm the discovery in person. It was a parlous and reckless choice. Anchoring his line, he began lowering himself into the narrow shaft. Suddenly, a section of gemstone gave way beneath his base. He fell several measures before the rope caught him, moving his shoulder. Moments later, a massive boulder fell from over, crashing to the chamber bottom, just where the platoon had been standing seconds before. The sound echoed like thunder, leaving everyone firmed in shock. It was clear the area was far too unstable for any farther mortal entry. The drone was recalled, and the platoon reviewed the footage in silence. Beyond the limestone arbor, faint metallic reflections were visible. Shapes suggesting rods and plates appeared, arranged in a deliberate conformation. Some experimenters allowed they might be tools or mechanical corridors, while others suspected a sealed vault of unknown purpose. Whatever the objects were, it was egregious that mortal entry would be suicidal. The chamber was collapsing in slow stir. Indeed, the lowest vibration could spark a full collapse. The consummation hit sluggishly. The platoon was looking at the work of a civilization long forgotten. This was a people who had learned construction, metallurgy, and figure long before history credited similar knowledge in North America. According to internal reports, the footage was incontinently translated and transferred to advanced authorities for careful examination. Days later, Demesne officers reclassified the area as confined due to extreme geological insecurity. No bone was allowed to return. What lay behind that limestone door remained sealed. Enterprise spread snappily. Some believed the chamber contained the final evidence of a misplaced culture. Others advised that it held commodities that had no way been meant for mortal discovery. No one could say for sure. But one fact was inarguable. The flume hadn't given up all of its secrets. The discovery represented a regard into a history that ultra-modern history had no way recorded. Indeed, as the sanctioned disquisition concluded, word of the discovery blurted still through private exploration networks. It sparked debate, unbelief, and fear. Scholars, explorers, and scientists argued over what the retired chamber might reveal. Could it rewrite what we knew about mortal history? Could it confirm the actuality of an advanced civilization in a place history had overlooked? The questions multiplied, but answers remained locked down, defended by layers of gravestone and centuries of silence. The chamber itself remained a creepy presence in the flume, a memorial of mystifications that couldn't yet be touched. Every checkup, every piece of footage, revealed further questions than answers. The metallic objects beyond the arbor suggested technology, skill, or knowledge far beyond the reach of the explorers. The indirect symbol with handprints suggested mortal presence, intent, and maybe a story lost to time. The flume's walls, its unstable bottoms, and its retired passages made clear that nature itself guarded these secrets.